You know, most guys live in a world of worry, and there's a mindset shift that happens to many guys based upon the world that they are seeing versus the world that is beyond what they actually see. You know, when I was young, I used to always watch this cartoon called the Thundercats. Thundercats was kind of a cartoon, you know, in the 80s, whatever, but there was always this phrase that even my mentor told me about when the character Lionel would grab these sort of omens. He'll put it to his face and he would say, "Sort of omens give me sight beyond sight." And since then, learning a little bit about that has always changed up everything when it comes to the game. And it's something that I want to share to a lot of you young men out here today. See, most people assume that you have to pretend to be or pretend to do a certain thing as far as, you know, this is who I want to be seen as the guy that is a player. I want to be seen as a guy that's a ladies' man. I want to be seen as in, you can just, you know, basically fill in the blank, right? But I think what most people don't understand is that it's not about what you want to be seen as, because it's not you, that it's not your reality in which a woman is actually looking at. And I think a lot of guys mess this up when it comes to realities, because a lot of young men out there, as I said before, they want to project what they think a woman wants to see them as, but what they don't know is that a woman is not looking at what you want her to see you as, okay? She's not going to do that. And I think a lot of young men fail and miss the mark on this, because a lot of young men are already under the assumption that the only way I can be seen as the guy is to portray a role of a person that has this mentality that I can get a lot of women. The one that gets a lot of women, gentlemen, is not the one that talks about or discusses or tries to move to be seen by women. It's the one that really just doesn't care if he's seen at all. There's a mechanism in women that most young men don't know about. And young men, if you understand what I'm saying, go ahead and throw 100 in the comment section. But there is a certain kind of man out there, and that's where we're trying to tell you, a certain kind of man out there that is not looking to be seen by a woman, because the problem is being seen by a woman, gentlemen, is operating on the wrong system. We see where people go wrong with giving you information. They're giving you information from a surface level view, assuming that if you change what is on the surface, that a woman is actually going to see who you are. And yeah, that's not the truth. That's not gonna. I wish it could happen that way, but it's not going to happen that way, because women don't actually move that way, especially from the surface. Women are going to see things from the surface, but they're never going to feel you from the surface. And I think that that's one of the greatest problems. But why am I saying this, and how does this tie into sight beyond sight? Well, the reason it ties into sight beyond sight, well, how it turns into sight beyond sight, when you actually learn the game, you actually realize that what I what I'm looking at and what I want to happen is not based on the reality that I'm actually in right now. The reality, as I've always said for young men, is a reality where I call reality number one. It's the indoctrinated reality. It's not the reality of control. It's an indoctrinated reality by all of us. When we are born, we are sponges of information. So we are always grasping information. But sometimes the information from, there's all kind of good information you get. You get information from your mom. You get information from your parents, your teachers, your pastors. That is good information that we take in. But one thing they don't teach you is there's another level of information that we get. And that is the information of fear, anxiety, worry, women, breakups, pain, anguish, emotional. So it's kind of like we're just grabbing it's like a bunch of stuff just being thrown into a trash can, right? And then the problem is based off of the stuff that's been thrown in the trash can. A lot of young men out there automatically assume because what's being thrown in the trash can is actually who I am, right? But that's not who you are. But if you think about who you are or not what I just said to you, then it comes to that person thinking that this is who I have to be to get that woman to actually see me. Now think about what I just said for a second here. What you're doing is the programming that you're on and the patterns that you're on are creating the thought process to say to yourself that this is what I have to be based on the reality of getting all the bad information in there, which is bad information because everything that is going on in your life and all the pain and everything that you're going through right now is making you who you are, but it's also making you decide on what it is you think a woman wants you to be. And there lies the problem. And that's the problem many young men don't understand, gentlemen. And this is where the sight beyond sight comes from. And this is where the game comes from. See, the game, and the beautiful thing about the game, gentlemen, it doesn't ask anything of you because it doesn't care about any of us. It's just it's a moving thing. But it's a thing that if you can tap into the source of that thing, it will bring you into a brand new reality that you begin to create a different world, which changes the perception of how you see yourself, not how you see women. Remember, most individuals, because of where they're in, they look down on themselves. So when you look down on yourself, guys, what happens is, excuse me, when you look down on yourself, what happens is that anything that you see that you feel is better than you, you are always going to look up to it, which is going to create a standard that you think you have to live by. But once you begin to learn the game and be a student of the game and learn things correctly and properly, what actually happens is that because you are working on something on a deeper level, it changes how you see and view the world. You see, there's nothing wrong with women, and I don't look down at women or anything like that. It's just how I see the world, but how I see myself in that world. That's the change. That's the difference. I never looked at my height as a problem. I never looked at money, clothes, or status as a problem because I didn't have that when I was your age, young men. What I looked at is the belief that I had in myself that I could create other places. I'm not talking about that weird stuff that people say on TV, they go into this weird world or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you begin to become a student and learn who you are, because that's where the problem comes from. See, the sight beyond sight is a lot of young men only see the world one way, and that's through the indoctrination of mom and dad, parents, breakups, and everything in between. That's why there's a lot of hurt, and that's why there's a lot of pain with a lot of these guys out here, because they're building and creating their universe and their world off of a moment in time that has happened with a woman. But when you begin to learn a game, you change those moments up and become that moment in time. And in the way, it's so much weight, it's so much beauty. And what I'm saying that a lot of guys don't understand is that when you're the guy, when you're him, okay, when you're that man and you got the game, what most people don't understand and most people don't get, especially women, and this is what drives a woman's behavior to want to talk to you, want to reach out to you, is that there is a control mechanism that women have, gentlemen, for the average guy. It's already a built-in program system from reality one, because if you look at everything from the reality that you're in right now, everything is built to declaw you and defang you, while they make women perfect, prim and perfect. But most young men get caught into the whirlwind of the lie based off the interpretation of what they see as the world. And where the sight beyond sight comes in at is that you finally, for a second, you start to see the world with a whole new set of eyes. And your set of eyes are not looking at women as an issue or a problem. You're looking at, are they worthy of me? There is a king buried inside of you. There is an emperor buried inside of you. And also there is a man buried inside you. But it is not buried by what you see right now. It's buried beyond that sight that I'm trying to get you guys to see. Beyond the fears, beyond the anxieties, beyond the excuses, beyond everything that you see and think, there is a different side of you that most women don't understand. And that's what takes the power away. That's what changes up the game. That's what makes you that person. It's not trying to pretend to be a man and try to pretend to be alpha and try to pretend to be all these things the world is telling you to be. No, what happens is that you finally, for the first time, you're locked in with yourself. You have understanding of understanding. You are more connected to who you are, what you are, and why you are. And you're never trying to be anything else for anybody except the man in the mirror. And when you can see that, and when you can understand that, that's when everything is going to change. The world changes for you when you change the world, gentlemen. And that's what the game is actually going to give you, man. It's not trying to be, say, or do something, because most of you young men have this power. And when you have the power, and when you lock into who you are, what you are, and why you are, everything is actually going to change. So, gentlemen, what I'm saying to you right now, to all you young men, is that it's very important. It's very important that we look beyond what people think about us, and we have to start looking at the things that we don't know about ourselves. The more you start to learn about yourself, the more everything is going to change. Once everything begins to change, then what's weird, this is the crazy part, you're going to have to learn how to adapt to the new change that comes in front of you, because there's levels to this. It's not just changing and getting the woman. I just want to say this real quick. It's changing and adapting to how women move around you. When women start to talk to you, reach out to you, they want to spend time with you. It's levels to this. So the first level that we got to look at is the sight beyond sight before we move on to how we manage women based on the new sight that we see. Guys, we will talk to you guys soon. I want y'all to think about what I'm saying. Soak this up. Guys, put 100 in the comments if you actually were in a position where you had that awakening moment that you realized that I'm not who I actually am. And there's another me waiting to get out there and waiting to take on the world. Let me know what you think, guys. But until then, we'll definitely talk to you guys later, all right? Peace.